The message had been delivered, a kingdom had been discovered, and now Prophet Sulaiman faced a decision. The people of that kingdom were not merely powerful, they worshipped the sun instead of Allah. Sulaiman did not respond with arrogance. He did not immediately send an army. Instead, he sent a letter, a message calling them toward Allah, and inside that message was something far more powerful than a threat. A choice: would they continue following what they had inherited, or would they recognize the truth? Far away, the Queen of Sheba received the letter. She gathered her advisors, and what followed would become one of the most remarkable encounters recorded in the Quran, because this was no longer simply a meeting between two rulers. It was a meeting between power and wisdom, between a kingdom and a message, and ultimately between a human being and the truth. The Queen of Sheba looked at the letter before her. It had come from Sulayman, and its message was clear. Do not be arrogant. Come to me in submission. Her advisors were ready to respond with strength. They reminded her that they possessed power. They had armies. They had resources. They were not a weak kingdom. But the queen understood something important. Sulayman was not behaving like an ordinary king. He had not demanded tribute. He had not asked for their wealth. He had not threatened them with destruction simply to increase his own kingdom. Instead, he was calling them toward Allah, so she decided to test the situation before making a final decision. She sent a gift. Perhaps she wanted to discover what kind of ruler Sulayman really was. Would he be impressed by wealth? Would he accept the gift? Would he negotiate for more? But when the gift reached Sulayman, his response revealed something extraordinary. He refused it. What Allah had given him was far greater than anything they could offer. He did not need their gold. He did not need their treasures. He did not need their recognition. His concern was the message. And the queen now understood that she was dealing with a ruler whose priorities were very different from her own. She would have to see this kingdom for herself, and so she began her journey. The Queen of Sheba traveled towards Sulayman's kingdom. Imagine what that journey must have looked like. A royal caravan moving across ancient lands, servants, guards, treasures, and a queen traveling toward a ruler whose kingdom had already become the subject of extraordinary stories. But Sulayman was preparing something else. Before she arrived, he asked those around him who could bring her throne to him before she arrived. The challenge was answered, and by the permission of Allah, her throne was brought before him with astonishing speed. Sulayman did not do this to boast. He did it as a sign, a reminder that the blessings he possessed were not the result of his own greatness. They were from Allah. And then came another remarkable moment. The throne was altered, its appearance was changed, and when the queen finally arrived, she was asked, "Is your throne like this?" She looked at it and answered carefully. It appeared to be hers, but the greater surprise was still waiting for her. She was invited into a magnificent structure. Its floor appeared to be water. She lifted her garments, thinking she would have to walk through it, but then she realized it was not water. It was a brilliantly polished surface, and in that moment, something began to change. The queen had entered Sulayman's kingdom, expecting to meet another powerful ruler. Instead, she was witnessing signs that challenged everything she thought she knew. Her wealth had not impressed him, her throne had not overwhelmed him, and his kingdom was not being used merely for worldly pride. There was something greater behind it, a message, and she finally recognized it. The Queen of Sheba had spent her life surrounded by power. She had commanded people. She had ruled a kingdom. She had possessed wealth and authority. But standing before Sulayman, she saw something different. She realized that the true source of Sulayman's greatness was not the kingdom itself. It was Allah. And then she said words that marked the turning point of her journey. She declared that she had wronged herself and submitted with Sulayman to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. This is one of the most beautiful moments in the story, because the queen did not simply lose a political argument, she discovered the truth. And when she discovered it, she accepted it. Her journey had begun with a letter. It had continued with a royal caravan. She had expected to meet a king, but she left having discovered her creator, and that is what makes this story so powerful. Sulayman's goal was never simply to make his kingdom greater. His greatest concern was that people recognize Allah, the wealth, the authority, the army, the wisdom, the extraordinary blessings. All of them were temporary gifts, but guidance was something far greater. There is another reason the story of Sulayman remains so powerful. He possessed almost everything a human being could desire: authority, wealth, knowledge, a magnificent kingdom, an army unlike any ordinary army, and abilities that Allah had given to him alone. Yet, the Quran does not present him as someone consumed by his blessings. Instead, we repeatedly see gratitude. He knew where those blessings came from, and that is perhaps the greatest lesson of his story. Having more does not automatically make a person closer to Allah. Sometimes having more creates a greater responsibility. More wealth means more responsibility. More influence means more responsibility. More knowledge means more responsibility. And greater blessings mean greater reasons to be grateful. Sulayman understood this. When he saw the extraordinary things Allah had given him, he did not say, "Look what I have achieved." He recognized the one who had given it, and this is something we can carry into our own lives. Maybe we don't have a kingdom. Maybe we don't command armies. Maybe we don't possess extraordinary abilities, but every person has blessings: a family, health, time, knowledge, a home, a livelihood, the ability to pray, the ability to make dua. Even the next breath we take is a blessing from Allah. And the question is not simply, how much has Allah given me? The greater question is, what am I doing with what He has given me? The story of Prophet Sulaiman began with extraordinary power, but it ends with something much more important: gratitude. He was given a kingdom, but he remained a servant of Allah. He was given knowledge, but he remained humble before the one who taught him. He was given authority, but he used it to call people toward the truth. And even a tiny ant became part of a lesson that would survive for generations. Then came a queen, a powerful ruler who traveled from a distant kingdom and discovered that the greatest kingdom was not the one with the most wealth. It was the one connected to Allah. That is the beauty of Sulayman's story. It teaches us that greatness is not measured by what you possess. It is measured by who you remember when you possess it. So if Allah has given you knowledge, be grateful. If He has given you wealth, be grateful. If He has given you influence, use it well. And if He has given you very little, never think you have nothing, because the greatest blessing is not what you hold in your hands. It is what Allah places in your heart. Prophet Sulaiman had a kingdom that amazed the world, but his greatest treasure was knowing that the kingdom belonged to Allah. And perhaps that is the question his story leaves for all of us. When Allah gives you a blessing, will it bring you closer to Him? Because one day, everything we have been given will disappear: the wealth, the status, the possessions, the applause. But the relationship we built with Allah, that is what truly matters. And that is the legacy of Prophet Sulaiman, not simply a king who possessed an extraordinary kingdom, but a servant who understood who the kingdom truly belonged to. May Allah make us grateful for His blessings, humble when He gives us more, and faithful when He gives us less. If this story brought a little more gratitude into your heart, share it with someone who needs that reminder, and subscribe to Faith Verse for more authentic Islamic stories that inspire faith, hope, and wonder. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.